Can we please stop with the Brock Purdy hate? Welcome to the Cayman's Island podcast, where we talk all things San Francisco 49ers. I'm your host, David Cayman. It's a little after midnight, and I just had to get on and do a show about the game. Big win for the 49ers, coming out on top against the Indianapolis Colts, 48-27. And man, Brock Purdy was absolutely electric. And I want to say this. Can we just get to a point where there's no need to defend Brock Purdy, I feel, either way. The man is a good quarterback. I don't feel like anyone should have to sit up here when he has a good game and explain why he's a good quarterback, or when he has a bad game, making him basically turn into a pumpkin like he doesn't know what he's doing. This stuff, guys, needs to stop. The man is a good quarterback. He absolutely balled out tonight. Went 25 of 34, 295 yards, 5 touchdowns, a 126.8 passer rating. He did have an interception, and I'm gonna talk about that in a minute, but I want to give some context just to how big time Brock Purdy's performance was against the Indianapolis Colts tonight on Monday Night Football, the biggest stage with everybody watching. We all know what's at stake, right? The 49ers obviously have some deficiencies getting to the quarterback, so the offense has to score a lot of points. Leading up to the game, all you heard was Phillip Rivers, Phillip Rivers, Phillip Rivers. And listen, I like Phillip Rivers. In fact, if I were a quarterback, I actually like the junk that Phillip Rivers talks. I like his moxie. I like his attitude. I like everything about Phillip Rivers. But I think the NFL tonight wanted to make it all about old man Rivers tonight, and that's good and great. And on the biggest stage, you hear things leading up to the game. Brock's got 5 touchdowns, 11 picks under the bright lights of Monday Night Football. Is this the game that Brock chokes? Blah, 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 blah. He just comes out here cool, calm, confident, comes out here, man, and handles business on the biggest stage, knowing how important it would be for the Niners to win out and get home field throughout the playoffs. So let's put this thing into perspective. It's the first time in 49ers history. Let me say this again. It's the first time in 49ers history that a quarterback wearing a San Francisco uniform has thrown 5 touchdowns on Monday Night Football. There's not even a need to start talking about the quarterbacks that have played for this franchise. It's a big deal, guys. It's the most passing touchdowns by a quarterback since Steve threw those 6 in the Super Bowl. And Steve Young's the reason I started watching football. My favorite player of all time. And Brock goes out here and throws 5 touchdowns, like I said, the most since my man Steve did it in the Super Bowl. And I can only see now that some folks are going to try to harp on the one interception he threw. Yes, the ball was a bit high, but I got to say this. I feel like Brock shouldn't have even been in the game at that point. I don't even know about the play call. I would have probably ran the ball, and I sure would have gotten CMC out of there. I love Kyle to death, man. I do. I really wish on that drive you saw a Mac Jones and you saw a Brian Robinson running the football, man. I've seen too many times late in the game with a 14-point lead and the ball right there, right on the cusp of that field goal range for something catastrophic to happen. I would have pulled them guys. That play would have never happened. I guess you could say good thing is after that pick, man, D. Winters on the very next drive picked Phillip Rivers off over the middle, took it back for a defensive touchdown, which was our second turnover of the game. Jair Brown caused a fumble early in the game on a kickoff return that we turned around and scored on. It was a big deal, big momentum shift in the game. But I just want to put into context how good Brock was tonight. Brock did in the fourth quarter. George appeared to do something to his ankle, so he didn't have George Kittle in the fourth quarter when he could have folded up. There is no Debo. There is no Brandon Ayuk coming back to this team. Ricky Pearsall was hurt. And don't get me wrong, JJ did good, and I appreciate how hard JJ plays, but it's not like he's some barn burner creating loads of separation out there. Brock absolutely, positively did his thing tonight. And honestly, guys, the offense itself is on an absolute tear. The San Francisco 49ers have not punted the ball since November. If I'm the punter, I got to get some extra reps in to even remember what it's like to be in a game situation punting the ball. We haven't punted the ball since November 30th when we played in Cleveland. It's crazy when you think about what the offense has done since Brock was returned. We're averaging 34 points per game since Brock returned, and that's the best in the NFL. A couple of other things of note, the Colts were number one in the league on defense at giving up yards per rush. The Niners were dead last. And listen to what my man CMC was able to do. Christian McCaffrey had 21 carries, 117 rushing yards. That's 5.6 yards per carry. Guys, you got to give a shout out to the unsung hero of this game. Got to take my hat off to the offensive line. Those guys are playing out of their mind. I thought Trent Williams looked the best I've seen him since 2023. It was a pretty cool moment after the game. Scott Van Pelt was interviewing Trent Williams, and like most primetime Niners games after a win, there's a sea of Niners faithful in the background chanting to Trent, one more year, one more year. And I knew this. It's been reported already. But Trent just smiles and shrugs his shoulders and says, man, I'm not anywhere near done. And I believe that, and I feel like that's a big deal for the 49ers. That does take some pressure off. Not saying that in the draft we don't need to address the offensive line or look for the, I guess you could say, heir apparent to Trent. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But it's good to know that if you take a swing and miss, you still got one of the greatest tackles to ever play the game sitting there. So that's a good deal. More on this offense. My man George Kittle, 7 catches, 115 yards and a touchdown. Juwan Jennings, 5 catches, 71 yards and a touchdown. Like I said, CMC with 2 receiving touchdowns. Just the offense is firing on all cylinders, and it's a beautiful sight to see. I know I can only imagine some of the Brock haters out there are going to immediately say things like, oh, all this is happening because of Kyle Shanahan. And listen, I'm going to say this. I think I've said this 3-4 weeks in a row. Kyle Shanahan is that guy. He is a brilliant offensive mind. He is an absolutely great head coach. I feel that sometimes he gets a little too fancy, which, I mean, most of these offensive-minded guys every once in a while, I guess you could say, outsmart themselves a time or two in a game. But, man, Kyle was absolutely in his bag tonight. Brock was in sync with the play calling as well, hitting everything. The Niners could do anything they wanted to on offense. There was a few plays tonight where I saw multiple guys open on plays, and that's exactly what you expect to see in a Kyle Shanahan-led offense. But I'll say this, guys. Anytime you have a good quarterback, a great quarterback, you've got a great head coach, right? People do understand that Andy Reid does coach the Chiefs, right? All these guys, man, all these big-time quarterbacks or these great quarterbacks have good head coaches. You take a look at Matt Stafford, Sean McVay. I respect that guy. That guy's no slouch. All of these very good, consistently good quarterbacks have been paired up with great head coaches. You even go back to Tom Brady. I understand that Bill Belichick, toward the end of his career, folks want to act like that man wasn't a great coach all those years for New England. The guy is brilliant, just brilliant. And that's what I'm saying, man. We got to stop taking Brock being a good quarterback for granted just because he has Kyle Shanahan. They work together, right? This is a tandem. This is a team thing. I'm hopeful, man, that the Brock Purdy hate will stop. I can already see now if Brock doesn't perform at that exact same level against Chicago, or we mess around and lose to a Seattle in a close game and Brock has a pick, it will be more than likely once again, see, Brock's not that guy. we got to stop this man. When Brock's healthy, guy's a good quarterback, and we need to start giving that man his flowers. Hopefully some of the haters and some of the doubters maybe at least back off for the next 6 business days or so that way the man can enjoy his performance. I want to take a minute and talk defense. I'm going to be honest. I was in full fan mode at the beginning of the game, and I was frustrated with the defense. Phillip Rivers was carving our secondary up big time. And I started like I do when I get into full fan mode and not really take a step back to rewind the play during commercial breaks or really analyze what's going on in the moment. But I think I see what the game plan was tonight. Robert Saleh said, hey, you know what, old man Rivers, if you're going to go toe-to-toe with the offense and throw 400 yards and 5 touchdowns and pull out this victory, we're going to tip our cap to you and let it be. What Robert Saleh and that defense didn't allow happen is that run game to beat them. And they just bided their time to the end of the game where it was a situation where Phillip Rivers had to beat them by passing the ball. And you could see it. I'm not sitting up here and saying it was sad, man, but there were several deep passes, a few early in the game, a few late in the game, where Phillip tried to put everything that he could on the ball, and the ball just floated and fell a bit short. But again, hats off to that dude for even being able to play at 44. Man, I know that I couldn't do it. If I went out there and got hit, like my whole body would explode into dust. Hats off to that man. I'm super happy for him. I feel that he should be a Hall of Famer. I know that him playing in this like resets his whole Hall of Fame voting clock by 5 years. I'm happy for him. Hopefully folks can really appreciate what he was able to do tonight in an NFL game, as big as it was, because let's face it, guys, the Colts were fighting for their playoff life in this one too. And for all intents and purposes, you can put the Colts season to sleep with this loss. But I thought he did very admirable, especially in the beginning of the game, really going toe-to-toe with the 49ers offense, definitely in that first half. And I'm really happy for D. Winters being able to take that 70-plus yard pick 6 to the house. That was definitely a good feeling. I feel like Malik Mustafa had a very good game, man, tackling tonight, not allowing Jonathan Taylor at all to get downhill or get going. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When I've looked and I've analyzed these last few games, it almost seems Robert Saleh is conceding. It's almost like we can't do both. We can't shut down the pass and shut down the run. So it almost looks like we're evaluating the team that we're playing, and we're definitely taking one of those two things away. You know what, guys? With the way the offense is playing right now, that might just be enough. Okay? If we mess around and beat Chicago at home and then mess around and beat Seattle at home, and we get home field throughout the playoffs, and we end up facing a Rams, especially with the way the Rams defense has looked as of late, especially with some of the questionable coverage situations that Seattle's put themselves in, could we outscore these guys and do just enough on defense? I feel like it's 50-50 right now, even with the defense struggling to stop Phillip Rivers. Maybe it's one of those situations where if we face a Rams, we focus on the pass and give up some rushing yards, the whole bend but don't break type of philosophy. Last thing I want to really get into is the special teams. I cannot tell you enough how much I appreciate what Sky Moore has been able to do on his returns. It's been a real difference maker for this football team. Having teams trying to kick away from him, trying to keep the ball out of his hands, and he's on a tear. He's continuing to produce. Now, I know my man, Eddie Pinheiro, big-time money De Niro, missed a 64-yard field goal tonight. I am more proud of my man, Eddie, by missing that 64-yarder than all his makes, because I think this is a situation where we were able to put his max leg to the test. He barely missed that 64-yard field goal. If you heard it, it doinged off the crossbar bar so loud, it was crazy. But we now know, because it was right down the center. It was right down the middle. He just didn't have enough leg. This gives me confidence to know, man, if we are sitting here in an NFC championship game against the Seahawks and it's 37-37, 1 second on the clock, and we need to kick a 60-yard field goal, man, you march Eddie Money out there and you give that man a try, because it looks like his leg can definitely hit 63. So that actually encouraged me more than anything this entire season for the special teams. I am also glad that he went ahead and got a miss out of the way. I'd much rather him miss a field goal like this than a field goal in overtime against Green Bay or something like that. So I'm super happy that he went ahead and got that miss out of the way. But again, huge win, guys, for the San Francisco 49ers, bringing their record to 11-4. Can you guys believe it? No Fred, no Bosa, no Michael, no Brandon Ayuk. All the injuries that we had, we're sitting here with an 11-4 record, already clinch a playoff spot. Faithful, tonight is definitely a night that we should be celebrating. We've got 2 home games where we could mess around and have home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. Man, it is completely wild. Guys, that's going to do it for this post-game breakdown. If you like the show, please remember to like and subscribe. It absolutely positively helps out the channel. As always, guys, thanks for listening. Take care. Be blessed. Go Niners.